guys, it's your girl Jasmine. Chicago started their shelter in place in late March. I've really geared towards reading a lot more, and it's really helped me to detox myself from being on social media so often. I'm gonna be talking about some of the awesome books I've been reading. I'm just gonna go dive into it, and if you guys have any recommendations on some books that I should read, feel free to put that in the comments. The first book that I really got into during the shelter in place is by Suze Orman. I think that's how you say her name. It's a woman finance book. So like a lot of people are like went through this during shelter in place, is like just trying to learn as much as possible about personal finance, and that was definitely me. I went kind of hard the first month, just learning a ton about what to do with your money, especially when you're going through a situation where, you know, a lot of people are losing jobs. You want to make sure that you're educating yourself about your finances, and this is where this book came along. So it's about personal finance, how to achieve personal financial freedom, but it's geared towards women. It really breaks down how you should, you know, be taking care of your finances. It's a work through book, so you definitely do have to take your time with it if you really want to get the most out of this book. The version that I read was actually a re-edit of her original book during the 2008 market crash, and this was during a time where a lot of people were losing their jobs. A lot of people didn't have, you know, good credit. People couldn't buy homes. They were in a lot of credit card debt. Similarly, right now, people are losing their jobs left and right. People are not as prepared as they should have been. The key things that she talks about in the book is how to start an emergency fund, how to save your money for that emergency fund, checking accounts, credit cards, retirement funds, index funds. You do have all your foundation ready, you've paid back all your debt. She talks about investing, and it's just a wealth of knowledge in a book. And then another thing I will say about this book, like I mentioned, it is geared towards women. I feel like women are starting to be more financially literate and free, which is good. But it's interesting to think that not too long ago, a lot of women are not financially free. You get into bad habits and bad relationships when you don't have that financial freedom, and she kind of touches on these things and how us as women, we have to be very alert. We have to be responsible, even more so, because if we're not, we can be vulnerable to be in situations where, you know, abuse is taking place, where you're just, you know, relying or depending on someone else, and you never want to be in that type of situation. So I really appreciate that book. Our next book, it's called The Compound Effect. It's by Darren. I reached for it because I first thought it was about personal finance too, and like I was in a kick, so I really wanted to learn about it. But after reading it, it's about how being constant with your positive habits and striving towards the ultimate goal, after a while it starts compounding on itself, and in the end you get really big results. And it really reinforces the idea that achievements that you want to make, they will not happen overnight. They will happen because you are constant with your goals and you're reaching for them every single day, and they'll eventually lead up to that. And I think it was a really good book for me to read. I'm pretty bad with being consistent with a lot of my projects. I really love having like 20 billion things to do and thinking of new ideas and starting them, but it's really hard for me to actually follow through completely. And this book helped me understand why, or at least give me a game plan on how I can go about it. This book is also a work through book, meaning that you're gonna have to do some work and be very reflective, write, summarize, things like that, to kind of just identify what are some great positive habits that you have that will ultimately lead you to your goal, and some bad habits that you have that are possibly hindering you from getting anywhere in life. So we live in a time where I feel like people really think a lot of things come instantaneously and it's very much about luck and etc. But I feel like people are starting to overlook hard work, time, and just patience overall, and that's truly how you get long-term success in life. And this book really hits the nail on the head. Next book I'm going to talk about is Winnie the Pooh, and it was actually a gift from one of my friends. So I have never watched the series, like the cartoon, and after reading it, I couldn't stop smiling throughout it. It's just so cute. It's really funny. Pooh is hilarious. Like, this bear is the funniest dude in the world. And then his friends are just so cute. So if you're looking for a book that will make you smile and just make you feel very warm inside, I definitely suggest this book. And it's a very fast read too. You know, you just go straight through it. Or if you just want to take your time and relax and read it casually, it's a good book for that too. And there's a lot of little stories of Pooh and his friends just being, you know, little animals in the forest. So great gift, honestly, like, really good gift. The next book is actually probably my favorite book out of all of these that I've been reading over shelter in place, and it's called This I Believe, Philosophies of Remarkable Men and Women. And essentially some background on this book. Back in the 1950s, NPR had a essay contest where they asking people to submit in 100 words or less what they believe in, their core principles. And they could answer this in whatever way that they wanted, whether it was through a story, whether it's just, you know, listing out their beliefs, etc. And they had a range of people, well-known people, just like your mom, dad down the street, and then they also had very remarkable people who were scientists, professors, and just talk about their beliefs. The book was published like 10 years ago, This I Believe, and it's basically a remake of that series. Take some of the stories from the 1950s and put them in this book with including modern submissions as well. So this book also has essays from Bill Gates, it has essays from Albert Einstein, it has submissions from, you know, top company owners, top CEOs, professors, scientists, philosophers, fashion designers. The list goes on. Most, I think, insightful essays I've been reading from this book are actually from people not known at all. It's been a good way to kind of reflect on myself. The book challenges you when you're reading to kind of to ask yourself the same question, like, what do I believe in? And if someone was to ask me to write my belief system in 100 words or less, would I be able to? Book, a lot of people contradict each other's beliefs. There's a lot of people who have very similar beliefs, but the way that they got to that conclusion or their beliefs are completely different. So it's just very interesting to see the similarities and differences. Essays about religion, and a lot about science, and a lot about nature, and a lot about just personal growth. If you think about it, like, that question in itself, what do you believe in? It's a pretty personal question to ask somebody. Thanks for making it to the end of this video. I would say I would give all these books a 10 out of 10. They're all awesome. I really like them, you know, just to learn a little bit about other people, about yourself, and then also just to feel good and entertain yourself. So never underestimate the power of a good book. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any more recommendations for me to read, feel free to put them in the comments. And if you're not going to share, please like my video. It would mean the world to me. And then I'll be back for a next one. Thank you so much. Bye.